Oh, God. All right, good morning. Welcome to the channel. It looks like I cut myself shaving in a hurry. That's my life these days as a consultant. So I'm going to wait a few minutes for you guys to show up. I know we had some sound issues this morning while trying to make this video. And I know that you guys have joined twice this morning, and now we got it solved now that we figured out the microphone scam. So today's video, thank you. Good morning. Okay, everybody's showing up now, finally. Thank you, YouTube, for expediting our request to make the video. So, oh yeah, I got to look in True Blue. I'll have to go back into my software after the video, and I'll unblock you, okay? I've already made a note of that. I didn't realize the reason you were saying muted so many times was because of that reason. So don't get offended. I will unblock that person now that I understand what happened, okay? All right, so we're going to talk about two topics today, and you're going to want to stick around because they're very important topics. I mean, clearly the first thing we're going to talk about is current conditions in the market for Section 8 housing and the housing authorities. Secondary to that market, we want to talk about homeless housing, and I want to talk about permanent supportive housing, rapid rehousing, and emergency housing vouchers. There are major plays happening inside these markets right now, and we're only about a month and a couple of weeks out before they start implementing these new changes. And there's going to be some problems. And I mean, there's going to be some giant problems. How would I know this? Well, I've done, as a Section 8 consultant for 26 years. There are no other consultants in the market that have done as long as I have to start with. So it means I understand the conditions out there better than almost any other, even the people that we install in HUD. Okay, I've been doing my job longer than most of these professionals have just popped in their office. And that includes long-term directors of housing authorities. So if you're looking for somebody that understands federal code, policy, procedure, and can do it to the tune of 4,200 housing authorities, all separately, with nearly a half a terabyte of data, then that's who you're dealing with right now. Make no mistake, there isn't any greater authority on it that I can think of, except for those that may write policy, but they're not in the business of implementation, okay? So I would take my advice as rather golden diamonds. I do understand the conditions of the market greater than any that I know. So beyond that, let's talk about the housing authorities. We have a government shutdown. We do Noah's Ark, and I make that as a joke because when you spend 40 days and 40 nights on a boat, okay, while the U.S. government decides to go on vacation for approximately 43 days, then, we were all waiting this out. So as I suspected, if many of you remember in the earlier videos, I told you, if you shut down government that long, you force housing authorities in a position where they're burning their cash, the cash reserve. Most PHAs had a reserve approximately of about a month. We ran this for almost a month and a half, and that pretty much cooked most housing authorities in America. As a testament to that, type in the words HUD or housing authority into Google News, okay, being the largest provider of news, and you'll see that almost every news article written at this point is lack of funding. You pair that secondary to a secondary market, and that's that most PHAs already cooked the books for the end of the year. In other words, the vast portion of budget's already been spent. So we have a bunch of housing authorities that by proxy are not going to want to they're going to open, but they don't really have anything to offer. We're not seeing any open waiting list. I was able to find one housing authority that had an opening for maybe 2 or 3 apartments in Project Base. So if you like to rent where you can pop your living room window and see the people turning tricks and smoking crack, that's great. I don't involve myself and never have, or even our office. And for those that don't know, I own Section8Consulting.com, which effectively this year, January 1st, I will be retiring. Now, I'm not suggesting, I have lots of cases on my book, a few anyways, I'll be completing. Then after that, I'll be going a limited retirement, which means I'll be 95% retired, and I'll still consult and make videos, okay? So, but this is the end of the path for me after all these years. but I'll still be around. Okay, so that being said, the market conditions are simply this. We're really not going to see much out of PHAs, meaning public housing authorities, until the beginning of the year. It's unfortunate. You pair that also with a government shutdown that ended just short of Turkey Day, right? Thanksgiving. And then, of course, you only got a week or two, and then all of a sudden you're into Christmas holidays. These are operably times when PHAs don't like to operate anyways, because too many people out in the office to start with, and vacation time. So we run into many conundrums all stacking up. And what's going to be difficult is, look, I've got clients calling right now, calling an email office and saying, hey, man, the government shutdown's over. It's been over 10 minutes. And they think that they think that Uncle Sam has put on his house slippers, work slippers, and is rolled in the office and is already direct deposited to the housing authority, and we're back to business. But we're not. In fact, I can't even get most housing authorities on the phone. I can't even get them to answer emails. They're simply not open or operable because there's just no money left. When you shut things down and you force housing authorities to operate on a reserve budget and you cook that budget at 43 days, there's nothing left. But, some people never understand that. So I suppose when Monday rolls around, my office will be filled with calls, and then I'll have to explain, why we're not going to see too much action between now and New Year's. Clearly, some things are going to open, and I'm like popcorn. I'm like everybody else. I want things to happen because I'm bored stiff. Big portion of my life is helping people navigate the system whenever it decides to be open. As I can tell, there are no open wait lists that I can tell on the market, and I'm guessing at this point that we're still 98% closed. What do you do in that circumstance? So that's where we are. It's not particularly bad news. It's expected. When you create a problem, then when the problem is over, you have to clean up the mess. When the tornado hits the building, you don't snap on the light switch and go, hey, we're open. So sorry, the ice cream machine is in a cow pasture about 2 miles from here. And I don't think a lot of my clients understand that. They just think they think in very simple terms that we're all of a sudden ready for business. We're not. And so we roll into next year, which is around the corner. It's not that bad. I mean, we're looking at 4 or 5 weeks, and we're next year, boom, it's here. But that brings something new to us. The evolution of the system. For those wondering here, I didn't get mugged, okay? I don't even have that much money, so I mugged myself with my razor, if you're wondering why there's a red spot there. When I'm doing my job, plus dealing with my cats, I sometimes shave off parts of my face. It's an unfortunate consequence. I've had days that I was so busy, I kept grabbing the shaving cream and putting it in my hair. I thought it was the mousse because my brain's not connected to me sometimes, and so that happens. I'm sure some of us have had those days. So in a minute, we're going to go over the changes to the homeless system, and I'm contemplating a video about that tonight because I think that we're going to have a magnificent problem for 2026, and it's going to create some additional complications. So I'm going to get in here and let's talk to a few of you guys that joined us this morning. Rob, good morning. LL, good morning. Sheila, oh boy, that has been eventful. Every morning is eventful. One day I'll tell you how the cat shit my flip-flop. I did a banana split and almost in an ER, okay? My life is always filled with love and joy, okay? At least today I only just managed to shave part of my face off. Angela, good morning. Get saved. I understand. Thank you. Good morning, Silver Fox. Haven't seen you in a minute. Shirley Griffin, good morning. Long timer. Preppy Princess, long timer, good morning. Lisa Gentel, good morning. Odin Gaming or something to that effect. I guess the term should change to temporary Section 8 housing. Yes, it's becoming like a coupon, isn't it? Rob, needing to appoint you overhead and all the housing of the United States. Well, I certainly consult, but I don't know that you guys would like that, how I would handle that. Sheila, hello. Muskogee Land, another member, and been around for a minute. Was also warned by the apartment manager to assess that the ultra low income status could end at the end of the month. We're going to talk about that in a minute because it's really important. Michelle, did HUD make a decision with the new ways they're going to do this? Oh, yeah, they made their decisions. Well, let me tell you, there will be an astronomical number of videos coming out of my office as we approach 2026 because this whole system has been changed. Which is in part why I'm vastly going to retire most of what I do. I'm not going to do my job for 26 years and then we come in and we change everything. It means I'd learn the whole job again, and though some of it's still connected to what it used to be, for the most part, the whole system is being redesigned. And so, yeah, I like being at the forefront of things, but I'm not going to spend another 26 years doing this. Okay. I've served 22,000 people, and many of which would have never even seen housing had it not been for the intervention of myself, my officer staff. Okay. And so here we go, and we wipe the whole thing out. We reduce HUD to 90%, sold the building. We're having a 43% cut on funding. We're wiping out almost all permanent supportive housing, rapid rehousing, and emergency vouchers. And we're putting in time limits, work requirements. So you see, it's a lot. I will use the 5% remaining where I'm not in retirement here to discuss how to get around some of those policies. So a big portion of the success of what I've done over the years was being able to understand and read through policy and procedure and help clients get through that through the loopholes. You see, if you're going to play a rigged game, you have to play to win. Okay, we're certainly not going to do a sing-along. I'm not going to just simply agree with the system and then implement it that way. That's probably why I was more successful and lasted longer than virtually every other section and consultant in the nation, is because my approach was very different. I understood it was rigged. I'd been through it myself a long time ago, and I understood their loopholes. And unless Congress is going to hold a new session and change those rules, then ideally my job was to exploit the absolute living shit out of that system to the benefit of the client. It only became exploitable when it became a rigged game. Okay, so I wasn't acting on poor faith or moral. I was simply complimenting what we'd already designed. Bullshit. Now, if it was a fair and honest system, then what I would have done would have been illegal, and then of course it'd have been morally questionable. But I never questioned my morals and ethics. Every time I ran my clients through loopholes, all I did was give them gas money to ride through a system much quicker than the average person. Still do it today. Okay, within the perimeter and rules set under federal code of federal regulation. And so my view has not changed, not for 2026. The great part about creating new rules are they haven't been tested. If you can imagine anybody's going to test the water on that, it'll be me. I'll be waiting. Because though these rules and policies are going to be written by our young adults at Harvard and Yale that probably work at Nana McKay, boy, you leave. If you don't write that right, I can guarantee you, I'll walk 500,000 people around it. Okay, and I can assure you, the first edition of every policy is pretty poor. They'll learn quickly because I'll find those holes in the system. So that's why you should be concerned, but not too concerned. Okay. Moving back down here to comments, and I'm still struggling with a spot in my shoulder. It's like having a needle. So I've clearly had my head in the wrong position because the cat's in the bed, and I've got a spot behind my shoulder blade that's just murdering me again this morning. I have to sleep in gymnastic positions that are weird now in order to not piss it off. So I'm fit to be tied, and I'm trying to deal with a holiday that even I am really not going to be celebrating this year because I don't see how much there is to celebrate when we're going to put roughly 200,000 people on the street. How do you do that? How do you go down to the steak restaurant and have a steak and a bottle of wine and praise yourself when you watch the most vulnerable people on the planet get kicked to the sidewalk? I just don't see the benefit of that. It makes me question a lot of what it means to be in this country at times. So anyways, moving on from there, Sheila Marie, It's the cost of the economy. Billions of dollars are shut down over nothing. You're right. Because nothing that they signed into that bill means a damn thing towards most of you. We shut down on principles, and it didn't fix a fucking thing. It's still a hot mess. Nothing that they did in that shutdown fundamentally changed or benefited any American that I can see. Okay? It's like they were growing a tomato garden to service their own house there. I don't understand what the fuck happened. If you want to do that, we should have just shut it down and gone down to stripper club. I mean, we're going to waste time. Let's waste it. I want to see the U.S. senators on a pole. Spin around that fucking thing until you do something. I made myself very clear about Motel 6. If you can't do it, I want a refund. You need to go work on the pole. As ugly as that is. But, I mean, it's reality. All right, Stephanie, morning. Christy, hi, I'm here in New Jersey. I love my New Jersey folks. Anybody here from New Jersey, New York, Massachusetts, and my East Coast folks? I know my West Coast are here, California for sure. You guys are the most tortured souls on the planet. You got a tub out there in Cali. All right, so moving on from there, Silver Fox, 78 more people need to click that up button. Yep, click, subscribe, hit the they got a new button. They got so many buttons now, I never bring them up. One thing I noticed is the last 4 or 5 videos, we had a great reduction of subscribers. I'm concerned. Does nobody like the message I breathe anymore? You realize this channel's 15 years old, older than most of your pets. Served a whole lot. Over 1 million people. I got an email this morning that says that my videos touched the soul of roughly 4 million people. How many times I get in a video and say, whip out your MasterCard and pay for a subscription? Never. How many videos have y'all ever seen me sit there before we even start? I do like every other channel, panhandle. Start with the panhandling cub. Please mash every fucking button in the channel. Please like, subscribe, touch, push the blue button, the green button, support my 19 different organizations. There'll be 4,000 links below the description. And then most YouTube videos don't even have anybody in it anymore. What instead we have are people from Russia and China making videos. There's nobody in it. They're just talking with a bunch of nonsense background videos running, right? So there's no YouTube left. There are no real people, just plastic prostitutes making videos. In my area or my expertise in housing as a Section 8 consultant at the federal level, there are at least 23 channels that do nothing but copy what I do. Couldn't have an original thought if they tried. They just copy. Now, mind you, they're not even consultants. They're comparable to what I would, like a children's party clown. You give them $1 to come over and blow up balloons and they put on their big shoes, right? That's what I compare those channels to. Just talking about shit they don't understand. So we're off to a wild tear this morning. Now that I've insulted everybody, talked trash, shaved off part of my face, talked about how we're all going to need to probably go out and shoot ourselves. There is good news. We're going to figure this out when the new rules come out, and I'll navigate those rules, and I'll teach you as always how to get around, how to play the rig game. If you're going to play a rig game, you should always think about it. Let me tell you a little story real quick. I want to tell you a story about a Christian family I dealt with, okay? They called my office. We talked many times, and we discussed casework to help them and their family. But I told them, I said, look, I understand you want to believe in humans and the earth, but look, not everything can be addressed straight up and as morally as you like. I said, a lot of this is going to test you and put you on the fence. They told me I was a little too shady and that they would get back with me. I thought to myself quietly as I hung up that call, I said, okay, they'll come to their senses. Give them about a month, and I bet you my phone will ring again. And sure as shit, about a month later. And the first thing that came out of their mouth when they got back on that phone, Jesus forgives. I said, I bet he does when your ass is on the sidewalk. You see? You have got to be able to deal with the system on the system's terms, okay? Otherwise, you will be a victim. I didn't spend a quarter century of my life teaching you guys how to be a victim. I've tried to empower you guys through rules, policies, and procedures. Over 1,000 videos. Many of you have taken those, and many have run away with them and gone out like a warrior and won housing. Rightfully so. Many more disabled called me where they felt hopeless, and we ended up suing housing authorities, taking them down, getting people fired, and even opening federal investigations. To my credit, over 300 federal investigations. But you see me here, and what you see is a simple man. A simple man can shave off part of his face, that it holds great pride and respect for animals, and has spent a dubious amount of my life and time trying to rescue you peoples, trying to rescue your ass, for little cost of benefit to me. Does it look like I'm a wealthy person? You can look in the background there. Okay. You see me riding around town in a $90,000 car? Of course not. Because my job doesn't pay that way. It pays a little more than a plumber would get paid, okay? So if you catch me around town with a Rolex and a $90,000 car, I want you to pull out your little pistol, okay, out your stockings. Pull it out and take a shot at me, okay? Life is not like that. My goal was never to enrich myself. I'm trying to enrich your lives for many of you that ain't got shit. And rescue many more from freezing to death and burning up in cars and on sidewalks. Families living in the woods with 12 kids, families with disabled children and no possibility or hope. I don't sell hope. I sell solutions. Not all have been successful, but neither has every client been honest. I got derailed in the Google review because a person wanted to talk shit about me, but the general audience didn't know that review came from a person who was a registered sex offender. It has never been my office's position to service those that sleep with children, and that I expose their ass. Okay? I don't do depravity. There's always another side of the story, and so you're hearing it. So let's move on here. Let's talk about something light and pretty, but let's look at the market conditions. We're expecting a slow transition all the way through the end of December, where housing authorities wake up, get a bit of funding, and start getting back out there. I expect that, okay? But it's not going to happen at light speed. Almost as quickly as they start doing it, I will start making videos about it, okay? Because that's the goal here. Let's deal with housing. Secondary to that, what's going to pop off for 2026? Well, they have determined that HUD is no longer in the business of homelessness. Okay, they said that as part of the actual line deal publicly. They're no longer in the business of dealing with homelessness. So here's how this is going to play out. Roughly 170,000 to 200,000 people that have emergency housing vouchers, permanent supportive housing, and rapid rehousing will lose it. And that loss will start almost effectively next month. Okay, they're not going to renew it. There's a funding gap as well. So whether you could make it or not make it is no longer relevant. All of it gets cut off because there's a funding gap. Now, they're only going to service about 20%. So the new policies in place are they want to deal with drugs and alcohol. Okay, if you're not a junkie or a drunk, you may not even be able to get housing. And I got bad news for the nonprofits and the shelters, and I take great joy in that one because I can't stand either one of them. So the administration has decided that we're going to push everybody into what transitional housing. For those that don't know, here's a great example. I want you to use Google today and go into Google and write sober house, or mostly just sober house. This is where you have houses with 5-6 bedrooms in them, and then in each bedroom there's about 4 beds. So it's like transitional housing. It's not the shelter. It's not the homeless shelter. So they're going to want people to go into residential programs that make you force you into AA or other things, okay? And you get a bed, but they're going to make you pretty much sacrifice everything you own to be there, right? You'll be like a child. You're told when to come and go, just like a shoulder, except it's transitional. So you have a little bit more freedom. You'll be given up to 18 months in transitional housing. After that, the solution is considered as being given, and then that's the end of it for you. Okay. For the vast majority, they're going to defund most of these housing authorities. So many of them are going to shrink. Okay. They're no longer supporting that game at all. And so housing authority, homeless shelters will take a big hit. Any of the continuum of care programs, nonprofits out there, they likely will lose just virtually almost all funding, which is fine by me because they were already stealing half the money anyway. So if you were depending on continuum of care funds, you might as well go and sell your building and fire everybody. We're no longer in that. As the administration said, we're not in the business of dealing homeless housing anymore. So they're only offering transitional. So that is a step up from the homeless shelter, okay? But I don't know how you guys are going to feel about that because I have a problem with that. You know, people don't want to give all their shit away. And 18 months, you know, it's a rather firm number. How many people out here can fix their life in 18 months, you know? And so while it's a step up from the shelter, it further exasperates things. I'll make no mistake here. There's going to be a lot of people on the street, man. In the LA area alone, with 76,000 homeless and using a lot of these programs, it's going to create a wild condition out there. And nationwide, it's going to be a big problem too. There will be some limited funding out there, you know, about 20% of what it used to be. So they're defunding it 87%. So there's no choice. We're kicking everybody out of all these programs. They're not going to continue to pay for them, and that is the end of it. You know, this is the evolution of the system. Oh, did you see that key cat? There's one of my rarest cats. He's gold. Let's see if we can get him in the video today. Y'all are always asking about my cats. Well, I got one here. Papa. Ready. Come on, cheese. Give me just a minute. I'll introduce you to my cat, Pops. If you don't like pets, then please unsubscribe. Please dislike the channel and then unplug your TV, throw your phone in the ditch, okay? Because a big part of the love and care of what I do is care for animals and people, okay? So if you don't like my cats, then you can go fuck off. So let me see if I can grab Pops real quick. We'll do some intro. Papa, come on, baby. I'm over. Oh, this is my softest bear. He's the leader of all the females. Papa Bear. So good morning, Papa. Good morning, Key. He says hello. He's having a sip of my coffee at the moment. So if you like pets and cats, man, you'll love us here. I don't have to stage it. My cats are, of course, she's sitting on the keyboard right now. Don't kill the video, Papa. Oh, don't do that, Papa. He just about canceled the video there. Sorry about that, guys. So I wanted y'all to see him. This means he wants treats. He only needs something when I end that video, man. He'll drive me crazy too. So today he's making himself known. He wants some action. He don't give a damn about this video, okay? You have to admire somebody that's that focused. So yeah, it's going to be tough conditions for next year, and it's going to make some people homeless that were, you know, in permanent supportive housing. But I believe there are other solutions we can attempt to try to help people. Okay, can't help everybody, but for those that are smart enough to stick with it and keep watching the channel, because I really do believe that we'll be able to find some rule changes. And you know, he's sitting there with his paw, one paw at a time, my coffee cup, and he's hitting that coffee. You ever seen a cat drinks coffee? Well, Pops drinks coffee. So he's had about three or four nips. So he'll be like popcorn for the rest of the day. So all you see me is petting the cat tail. Papa, get out that. He's he's back in the coffee. Now he's licking it directly out of the cup. See? Look, if you ever come to my Christmas party, don't drink out the fucking cups, okay? Because the cats have already had a hit. In fact, they may have licked the potato salad. You could find hair in your food. I'd be a very poor quality restaurant, okay? You might find hair in everything. So we're having a little party today with the cats. and he ain't giving up. He's still in the coffee cup. He's on about the 10th hit. Papa, I swear to God. If you're a pet owner, you know what I'm talking about. He's looking at me too. He's literally strung out on coffee. So as we approach next year, we're going to start getting into policy and procedure. We're going to try to find what these loopholes are, and we're going to try to work through this for you guys. It's permanent supportive housing, emergency housing, and so on, Papa. This is going to be a hard video to make because he's really not wanting to. He's not really Gucci with me being in this video this morning. One thing I can tell you about him, he'll go around and to all the females and he'll touch noses with them. And he operates just like a manager. He goes around and makes sure everybody's okay. Even when I take Grandma Grace, she had to sometimes clean her up because she gets boo-boo on her. And if he hears her crying because she doesn't like me doing that, cleaning her up, he'll come over there and check. He'll make sure that she's not being hurt. So he looks after all the females in the house. And every day when the cats get on the bed, he'll go one cat after another, and he'll touch noses and rub on them and do a checkup. So he's like a manager around here. He's been like that all these years. He used to do about 30 checkups when we had 33 cats. So I'm sorry to drag into something different here, but I'm trying to deal with cats. That's my life as we deal with this. Papa, come on now, baby. Here. Let's see if I can get him real quick so we can finish this video. Come on, Keith. So that being said, I'm going to hold him like a baby, and we'll keep going here, folks. So he's being spoiled today. So I think that next year we're going to do those review policies as soon as I get them, and then we're going to try to find how we can actually get through that and find loopholes, as I mentioned. For those of you, I want to mention one thing. As I'm doing almost a full retirement at the end of the year, I'm going to be offering limited casework, okay? For many of you, that's for those of you that don't have the time, the energy, or maybe you just don't understand how to navigate the system. And starting Monday this week, we're cutting the casework cost in half. In other words, all of us billed at around $1,000, which is a lot of money, but you have to consider with casework, we're working for clients for nearly a year to be able to get them housing. Since they're changing the way the system works, we'll be able to offer casework at 6 months. In other words, about half the cost. Depending on what you need help with, portability and all the other issues, casework costs will be around $495 to $695, which makes it pretty affordable, even for those that are only getting $900 to $1,000 a month. I know a lot of you have reserve and savings and things like that. Our office is a last option. You should not reach out to our office as a first option, okay? This is when you've exhausted all possibilities. You're in jeopardy of losing your house. He's gonna go to sleep, and he's gone, almost gone. So I'm gonna put the cat like a baby, put him to sleep. So there's a last option for those of you and your families. Otherwise, I would say you should always try your best to be able to get out there, try to navigate the system, learn as much as you can. He's literally going to go to sleep. Papa, you are so bad. So spoiled my cats are. So I'm going to rock him like a baby. And here we go while we make this video. Now, this is a grown cat, 8 years old. And we're still doing the baby thing. Pop. So, look, he's just sitting there. He's quite pleased with himself. He's got his human worker. I don't walk my cats walk me kind of deal, So, what you doing, Pop? You gonna go to sleep? This is crazy. I never in any of my videos has this ever happened. But he's literally he's got no interest in getting up. So if you ever wonder, yep, I love cats. They clearly love me. So, all right, and yep, his fingers are gone. Say hello to the people, Papa. Papa. There he is. Well, this video hadn't gone the way I just expected. I thought I was going to be able to talk to y'all like a grown man, but I'm clearly running a daycare center for cats. So moving on to the comments here. Big boy, mine won't go near me in coffee, thankfully. Well, mine drink coffee. They get jacked up, turning little monsters in my house. So is there a solution for housing where no one can be homeless? Well, I think there are solutions, and I'm pretty good at finding those solutions, but uh, it's hard to say. We're facing a different system next year. I don't have a lot of the rules and policies in front of me, but I've got a good idea about how this is going to play out. But it is the evolution of the system. It's happening for the first time since the inception of Section 8 housing and homeless housing, and it is changing. And by virtue, he's get out. He is gone. My cat is asleep on his back in a live video. How does this shit happen? Papa. You see? Any doubters here say that I don't care about my animals? You got to be kidding me. This says everything you need to know about me. All right, moving on from there. Yeah, he's spoiled. From Lincoln County, Missouri. Good morning. Jackie's life so lovely. Yes, it is, isn't it? I can tell you my shoulder's starting to hurt a bit. Maria, I am trying to get Section 8 housing by a house. I reach out to my office. Maria, if you're in the market for that, you're gonna want to react pretty quickly because they're looking at ending that the funding and everything, and likely it will end sometime next year, probably after October. So you want to step on the gas. Would you speak on RAD? Well, I could, but I don't want to do it in this video because I'm very long-winded. I was born that way. That's why the doctor slapped me 3 times at birth, shut the fuck up, kind of deal. But yes, I can speak on RAD. It just won't be this video. Rob, love his daddy. Oh yeah, he is gone. I mean, he's like a limp. I got a limp cat in the video. Christina Ganna, my cat flops across my lap and belly across his arms. Yep, we all know. I just never had him do this in a video. Oh man, I was hoping Miss Split would grow out of the large stage. Guess not. I hear you. Butterflies. My son has full custody of our daughter. She's on a waiting list for housing in Austin. Okay. Well, you might want to multiply your efforts there because another solution to housing and vouchers are trying to get a multiple waiting list, even if you don't intend on moving to the other place where that is, another town, county, or state, and then initiate portability back to that state. Okay. I would advise that none of you hang your hat on one solution. If you hang your hat on one solution, you'll spend a very exceptional amount of time. A lot of my clients that reach out to Rob have already been on the list 8-9 years. Okay. Look, the system is designed to time you out. If they make you wait long enough, then at some point you're going to be disqualified because your life will change. Okay. So just be careful of that. Crazy Beautiful. This is hilarious and adorable. This is my everyday life. I woke up this morning. Thankfully, I shaved my hair off, so I had to brush my hair, shave out part of my face. Now I got to sit here and baby the cat, which is passed out in my arms, and just like you hold a regular baby. And so here we go. This is everyday life, and I'm in the office. I'm supposed to be working, but instead, I'm running a daycare center. Oh, God. James, I won HUD Section 8 voucher in 2021. Still waiting for my voucher. You might be waiting for a minute. Okay, I always tell people winning the vouchers is nothing until they put it in your hands. My friend, if you're still sitting there 4 years later, that's a problem. Yes, Pop. So Lily the cat's going to take a bit of a shower. Oh, crazy cats. Upstaging, snoring. Yep. He's gone again. I must have fed him. I must have fed my little turkey too much this morning because clearly he needs a nap. He's in between naps. This is the mid-morning nap. In fact, some days he'll chase me down. He wants me to come lay down with him. Oh God, they feel what you feel. Oh, of course they do. You must feel pretty good today. User YouTube 1970. I'm 55, old female in Lake County, Florida. After moving from Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas a year ago, my PHA still hasn't paid their HCB portion this month. That's pretty common around the U.S. A lot of PHAs run out of money and reserve funding because of the duration of the government shutdown. So it may be a little bit longer before it happens. So it's unfortunate, but that's the reasoning. Miss Lily, I received SSI/DI due to permanent disability. I have Section 8. I am poured into another state. Should I be worried? I don't have enough information to tell you whether or not you'd be worried. Oh, we got another visitor. And went Bunny, my other cat. So Pop's going to do what he normally does. You're going to go investigate? So he might go investigate. Who is it, Papa? Who is it, baby? See? I told you, he's the office manager. Somebody a cat rolled through the door. He's going to go investigate. Maybe. What you going to do, Pop? Oh, you look less stressed out though. I am. I had to take some rest yesterday. I get to a point. All right, Bear, you got to go, brother. Come on, monkey. That's gonna really hurt that nerve right now. So now I'm gonna be in pain all day. But at least Pop got his nap. So, I am in family self-sufficiency program. I'm trying to get part of the escrow, but it's been a problem. Well, it continues to be a problem for you. Reach out to us. You can reach out to us at www.section8consulting.com. Been around a very long time. Anyways, user YouTube 1970, adorable cat. All right, guys. So that being said, it's this video was sparse. We had 2 failed videos. Didn't get to say a whole lot. We're going to have a slower time all the way till December. Most PHAs are going to slowly open. We're going to try to do what we can. We're expecting all the policy changes to start taking place at the beginning of the year. The finalization of that will happen on October 1st of 2026. So the biggest chunks are going to happen then. Now, as you noticed, President Trump makes usually his biggest moves, the fireworks he does will be at the beginning of the year. So you guys should expect January, February, March, and April to be very interesting months, because that's probably when the president's going to discuss how we're going to change even further the system. The first year he's been in office here, he's going after all the federal agencies, so we should expect that. So keeping track, we got to keep tabs on everything. I recommend, unlike any year in U.S. history, that you monitor your news for Section 8 and HUD on a daily basis, because that's how rapidly things do change these days. And just a quick shout out to President Maduro in Venezuela, surrounded by all our warships. Man, you better get off that island, man. Okay. We're not running simulations out there, Mr. Maduro. Okay. And given that military use guns, it's a bad idea. You take a pot shot at our Navy SEALs, it's going to go badly for you, okay? So I encourage my Venezuelans, look, guys, do not piss off the U.S. military. It's going in badly for you. In other news, the main topic of the hour is the Epstein files. I don't even understand what all that's about. I don't get into that too much, but apparently Mr. Epstein was a fixer, and I'm sure all you guys have opinions. A lot of you guys will come to me and ask me about that stuff. I don't know what that man does or what he did wrong, but if he's at the top of the news today, then clearly something's going badly. Where's little mama? Little mama, usually this time of morning, is chasing crickets in her field out here. She subsidizes her eating with locusts, lizards, snakes. And when she was younger, she and her brother Thomas would run up the trees and kill blackbirds. They killed so many of them, and they would tag team the squirrels as well. For a while there, we didn't have a squirrel across any of the acreage because little mama was a absolute beast. We had a birdhouse on a tree. She would crawl up the tree. She'd tiptoe on top of the birdhouse, sit there, and she'd lean her head down and look in the hole. She wanted her egg breakfast. She went right to the source. She was like the landlord. She was on the roof waiting for the bird to come out the hole. I mean, she took no decorum with that. So my little monsters do that. I haven't heard anything chirp or scurry on our property for a while because, well, they kill everything that moves and breathes, except for things that can kill them. So yeah, the crickets quit singing out here too. Bunny is a cricket killer. Frogs, clowns, and devils. Are we talking about Congress again? Is Florida affected? Of course it's affected. It's one of the 50 states. You know Florida's affected. Florida's going through the same thing California's going through on affordability. We talked about all that inflation on affordable rents. So I wish I could read a crystal ball and see 2026 play out. But one thing is very clear to me. We're going to have a tremendous problem with homelessness. Okay, from every corner. It's going to be a byproduct of all these changes. There's just no way around it. And two things light my office: either to be really quiet, or we'll get slammed like the pandemic, because people are going to realize that the system was designed to kick them out, not to house them. And so I'm concerned about this new year. I'm concerned about how this is going to play out economically, and we just simply cannot support 5 million new people on the streets, and those numbers could become extremely elevated without this funding. I mean, we're within a month of kicking out 200,000. That's just that's a tough situation. So anyways, to repeat the website, I am the owner of Section 8 Consulting, so section8consulting.com, for those that don't know. And if you like, I can put up our company's information. And remember, all this is the last resort, okay? Only when you get stuck. So I'm going to copy up the address for you guys real quick. See if I can find a copy here. Working on it. There we go. So the website is here. Come on. Okay, copying it in. So that's our primary website. I just posted it. Now the next thing I'll post for you guys is going to be where you book an appointment if you wish to, okay? Now remember, the effective changes to all of our service will happen Monday, not today. And casework services will be 50% less, but it'll be limited casework in only 6 months, okay? But it should make it quite affordable for most of you. So here's where appointments are made if you have a problem and you're not sure how to get through it, okay? Last thing, I'm going to do reviews. You guys like reviews? You can take a look at 500 plus reviews over a portion of my career here. This is what people had to say about me. Okay. I'll click on that link real quick and just check. To date, 428 reviews from people all over the nation. And those reviews tell you the story of where we've been and what people think about what we do in our office. And let's be clear about something. My reputation is not flawless. I have not been able to help everybody. In fact, a few people left angry. Some people didn't get anything, that it goes that way. This is a very difficult job. So unlike most companies that try to, sugarcoat their reputation, I don't. I got about 2 or 3 strikes in the BBB, but the BBB and those reviews were, one of them I gave a refund, and they were pissed off because I had to terminate their casework. I didn't like that person harassing our staff. So they were mad, and they fanned their displeasure with me there. And 2 others paid for casework. But here's the deal. I'm not going to allow a nonprofit like BBB to dictate how or when I address my clients. So they went there, and 2 cases out of 22,000. So that's pretty good. So I'd say the ratio of my failure rate over the years, 26 years, my failure rate is 0.0003. Okay. Not too bad. So I'd say if you were a gambler, you have better odds with me than you do the casino. And with 1,000 videos, it's pretty clear. I know what I'm doing, okay? So there's our information, a website to book appointments, and also you can find the information regarding reviews. And our reviews are about the same on Google as well. I think we got one or two hits on there where people complain. But remember that story about the sex offender? That's why. So other than that, it's 20 beautiful reviews, and one person just left left 1 star. But see, that was a person that watched one of my videos, didn't like what I had to say, and that did that. They weren't even declined. The second person was a person with sex offender. The other 20 reviews on Google are like the rest of my reviews over my career, pristine. So I'd say you're in good hands. Should also mention our company has no liens, holds, judgments, never been investigated, and you can contact the DOJ. That's a pretty proud career to do so much. Enough to where I deal with multinational companies. I've dealt with law firms. I've flown out and done cases and testimony to speak on behalf of clients under jury and trial about conditions, unfavorable conditions to them. And I've been hired by hundreds of landlords. We've had articles written on us. I wish I could get in Time magazine, but Business Insider has written quite a bit. I think I've had about 6 articles back to our company there. So respectfully, even the news respects my opinion. Though I do look like a little rough around the edges, that's fine. It means that I'm doing a job and I'm not, you can clearly see I don't enrich myself with it. Otherwise, my cats would have diamond collars, right? All right, so moving on from down there. Will any part of the United States be less impacted? I think the Midwest. Overall, the impact of all of this is going to be rather severe on the East and West Coast. Florida to Maine, Texas to California. The big states where it's really going to be problematic. Let's talk about where it's going to be a big problem. New York, Jersey, Massachusetts, really Florida, okay? California, really. California, number 1. Florida, number 2. New York, 3. Jersey, Massachusetts. Where else? Arizona, New Mexico, big problem. Where else? Texas is becoming a problem. Southern states have always been problems, but they're usually minor. The Midwest is really pretty good. Chicago somehow has remained off my radar all these years because they do a decent job out there. It isn't perfect. Let's see where else. Detroit's going through a problem right now again, but it's not too severe. Georgia's going through a lot of problems. South Carolina, West Virginia. Oh, West Virginia. I love my moonshiners. Where else? Puerto Rico. If you didn't know, they're not a state, but they're a contentious part of the U.S. And Puerto Rico's had some difficulty. Every time they get a light pole up, a hurricane blows it down. I mean, these poor people. Jay should run for HUD. I wouldn't want to be in that shitbag place, man. I love HUD's employees, but the leadership there's just trash. We've only had one, Marissa Pudge. I love that lady. She would roll around in a school bus with the feds, and she would storm housing authorities. You want to see me get happy and want to drink a few cocktails and just have fun? I love watching how that lady operated. She stormed all the buildings. She'd arrest all those people, and it brought me great joy. I really do miss Marissa Pudge. Okay, when you set aside politics, that lady, she was a bombshell. She went right there in D.C., man, and took them down. She went up to the NYCHA. She went after L.A. She went through a lot of houses. She'd sue them, throw them all in jail. I love that lady. I mean, she was the first one in a long time that she didn't care about the politics. She stormed your building, and that was it. We got a lot of former housing authority employees wearing penitentiary slippers now because of her. I enjoyed that lady a lot. She was a beast, man. They installed her. They didn't know she was a tank. Okay. Moving on from there. Hi, do you help with USDA loans? Let's give some clarity to this. As a consultant at the federal level, my office handles all matters under Section 8 and HUD, okay? So that includes matters of Section 8 vouchers, housing choice vouchers, rapid rehousing, permanent supportive housing, HUD BASH, BAWA, BAWA for domestic violence, HUPWA, which is persons with HIV and AIDS, 811-202, portability, policy procedures, beyond that, payment standards, rent standards, HUD home ownership programs. There isn't anything I don't know. And what's so interesting is if you look at a lot of the videos I made, you clearly see I'm not reading from a teleprompter. I can sit there and talk for an hour straight about policy. That's a distinguishing factor between watching me on our channel is when you know, like I do, you can sit there and verbatim federal rules and code for an hour straight. You go to another channel and you got some blonde airhead that's pretending to be a consultant, and they can talk for about 3 minutes before they got to read off a teleprompter, and they don't know that. You clearly see it. You see the difference between somebody that actually knows in great depth. And that's what I'm going through right now is with the new policies and procedures being rolled out. You're talking about me behind the scenes, still doing work for casework, and I still have to read through about 5 telephone books of policy. Now, I don't have to read through it. I got to cut 95% of the fat out of it, identify all the targetable, actionable points where there are loopholes, and figure that out, run it across legal. Legal help me determine whether or not I can exploit the shit out of it, and then find a way to implement that for clients. In other words, walk your ass through a loophole to be able to circumnavigate, which essentially is a rigged game. So yes, I deal with all, and I deal in all 50 states. Again, we're dealing with federal programs. I don't just limit my wisdom to my zip code or my neighborhood. I've dealt with clients in all 50 states. When you look at those reviews we put up a minute ago, and I'll put them back up, those people from every state in the country. Okay, I've dealt with clients in every single state in the United States. I've even had the British contact me. It's crazy. I get people from Canada and Great Britain. I'm like, look, I don't do your type of housing. I don't know shit about that. I cannot influence that system because I don't know it. I would love to help our Canadians and our Britons, but I don't really understand their system. And they're not as crazy as our politicians that make it easy for me able to get my hands by virtue of FOIA to read through their policy and procedure. It's typical. It's less difficult in the U.S. To be able to get that. And so it makes it easier for me to do that job. So I'll post up some information again so we can do this one more time. I see you guys are asking good questions here. So let me get it up here real quick. Also, let's see if I have the other information. But the thing about it is I have a limitation when I can type into live chat. They limit the number of words. So I'll grab the information. We'll put it as a 3-pack. And then I'll go back to answer questions. Why not? So here we go. The first link up there is going to be our website. Second is for booking software. The booking software connects into our website. Third of that is all the reviews, 500 to around 438 or 28. And to be honest with you, the number seemed to me was much higher. So I don't know how we got reduced because last time I checked, we were right on the verge of 500. So clearly some reviews got removed, and I'm suspicious of the company that does the reviews there, about that. So, but anyways, it's about 500 reviews. So I think there, and you can check Google as well. We got a pretty good reputation there. And so if I manage that between 500 there, about 20 on Google, and 3 really shitty reviews where I just scanned the ever-loving shit out of 3 people on BBB. I can't believe Mama still uses BBB and went and talked a little shit about me. The thing about BBB is they only want to host your extremists. The ones that go out there, they write a long dialogue hoping to acquire so much fucking sympathy. And the reality of it is the BBB never asked about the clients and what happened. They violate the terms of contract. There are sex offenders and other things, but they don't care about the truth. They just want to be a platform to vent neurotic people's reviews. And I'm not going to respond to that shit, man. They're not in charge of my company. They don't write our contracts. And so I'll just take the hits. Fuck it. I had a client that said, oh, well, after reviewing BBB, I said, honey, did you review any other reviews or did you just look at that? Who even uses that anymore? So it's a tough situation, and I'm not going to defend my honor. I've been in this industry too long. I ain't shit to prove. I've had a few clients try to put me in check, but you need to prove. Well, I ain't going to prove shit to you, lady. How about this? I'm the only bridge between your ass being on the sidewalk. Okay. You think about it on earnest appointment, and you call me back in a month when you realize I'm the only thing keeping your ass off the street, and you treat me better, or we're done. Okay. So moving on down, I have for you, not in the Federal Registry. Good. Can I take your dancing? Well, of course, you didn't know we do square dancing every Friday. Anybody want to do some square dance? We bring our cats too. So I'm just joking with you. Oh, can you take me dancing? You want to take this old country boy dancing? I suppose. Rob, because you know your business. I know it. Look, I'm not. If you've been in the industry and you're as well known as I am on YouTube, okay, clearly if I have the largest Section 8 channel, okay, I'm a known Section 8 consultant for a quarter of a century. Why the hell would I waste my time dealing with a skeptic on the phone? Oh yeah, please. I'm like, look, lady, you really are special, aren't you? I don't have time for this. If you're having a schizophrenic moment, pop a pill, call me back on Friday, okay? Because I don't need to defend shit I do. I'll let my reviews do that, okay? So please. That'd be laughable. What if every law firm? You know, I get about 60 calls a year just from law firms that drop their cases on me. You know, I've already cleared all the passage I need to. And last thing I'm going to do is deal with somebody that's suffering from paranoia. Stephanie Hill, I know that I'm late, but I'm trying hard. I'm trying hard to be self-sufficient. Well, you know what? I commend you for that. You're taking a difficult situation and you're doing damn well as best you can. And you need help. I get that. Okay. Let me tell you something, guys. Let me tell you something, all of you right now. Okay. Let's be serious for a minute. When you got a 70-year-old woman, okay, and she goes out to the post office box, she goes out there, walks out to her mailbox, and she gets her Social Security out that box, do you think that woman's ashamed? Anybody here want to comment on that? Do you think when she walks down to the mailbox, gets a Social Security check, do you think she's ashamed? She paid her taxes, she worked through life, and she, as an American, has that entitlement, correct? When you work a job, you are a red-blooded American. An option for you on the table as an American is you can receive Section 8 if you need it. It's an entitlement. You paid it in the system, you can retract it. So why is there so much fucking shame with that? You guys don't need to make any excuse. The only time you need to make an excuse is when you know you're guilty of one thing, trying to ride the system forever, okay? Even Social Security checks come to an end. So why is it the old lady, why can you have a Social Security or disability check? You're not ashamed to get that out the box, but suddenly you're empathetically sad because you had to utilize the system that was put in place for you to start with, but yet you let the news shame you into believing that you're somehow a monster. That shit needs to end. Okay? You as an American and any of you here paid into the system. This is an option, an entitlement that you can use. And to have the national news to somehow make you believe that you're just a devil, that you're just lower than a piece of shit for doing it is nuts. Okay? You see the parallels? HUD's a federal agency. They're offering housing and money to get you housing. Social Security is a federal agency. It offers money too through that check. Same fucking thing. One comes with, hey, I'm just a normal citizen. The other implies shame. Bullshit. I call bullshit on that. You as an American, part of the benefit of being American is having this available when you need it. But yet you let the news and all these other people and politics try to determine whether or not you're the beast. Okay, you can't offer something and fucking shame everybody apart. But this is the world we live in. How long before we start telling the disabled, oh, well, you got a check? Well, you're just a piece of shit. We got all this fucked up and backwards. There shouldn't be any shame implied, but instead we allowed the news in the 80s to not only take this system, first thing they did was they racialized it, did a whole lot of fucking lying, you know, so that allowed the news to become prejudicial. Now it's gotten so bad, it's gone beyond being prejudicial, but now it's everybody. Anybody that attempts to use the damn system that's there to support Americans is now trash. And then I got to hear about the old taxpayer deal. Well, look, these fucking people pay tax. This is there to help Americans. And how this got it connected to shame, I don't know. But I suspect strongly growing up, the 1980s had a whole lot to do with that. And again, it started with prejudicial behavior, and now we've gone way off the deep end with that. You, as a red-blooded American paid system, you have every fucking right. If you're having a tough time to get housing or anything else, the U.S. government was designed. We designed HUD just for this. So you can't just go, well, here's a voucher with a whole lot of fucking guilt. Ain't nothing to be ashamed of. Not everybody on the planet is going to be a senator. Not everybody's going to be a doctor and a lawyer. And to be honest with you, even if you were, when you retire, most people have a hard time with affordability. Why? Because look at today. We're in the middle of inflation. You can't even retire during these years anymore. Okay, the 50s are over. That kind of American dream's gone. Okay, we live in a world of inflation, hyperinflation, price gouging, and man, you got people working their 70 because they don't trust the government. They don't trust the government because look at what's happening. Who could possibly retire? Even if you've got a $2,000 check, it ain't shit because of all the inflation. So to somehow imply that I worked all my life and now maybe I'll become disabled or a senior and that I should be ashamed of using a fucking service that was designed to help people, the American taxpayer. And so this is just nuts. I have a real beef with that. Okay. Now, if we want to argue politics, I can understand why people might have an argument with giving out money to homeless, but most homeless probably worked before they were homeless. So now, I disagree. You need help, get the help you need without any implied shame. But if you're going to ride the system forever, then you're going to feed in your own prejudicial behavior there because that's what makes it look bad. So that's just my opinion, but just remember there are two different checks coming in the mail. One's in the form of a voucher, sometimes it's in the form of a Social Security check. One comes with honor and the other comes with shame. But the reality is there's no difference between the two. I worked all my life with a paper route. Well, good for you. They say it, entertainment, the New Deal. See, I managed to use more profanities. Damn it. I'm only going to make $1 in this video. I've got to learn to keep my filthy mouth shut sometimes. YouTube's going to pay me $1 now. They've been hard on me lately. Every time I drop that F-bomb, that's another $1. They take half of all the money. You got to love YouTube, man. They suck up 49% of every ad. Okay. It's like having a pimp. I get pimped in every video. The pimp needs 49% of what I make. This is why I can't make any money on YouTube. Good thing I'm here to help rather than line my pockets. Okay. That's how people with integrity feel. I guess we don't have a gene where we want to exploit everything. Exactly. Yes, thank you for helping me and holding your head high. You should have. I don't want any seniors or disabled being ashamed about accepting help. That's just the wrong way. Constructive look at that. In fact, people that have that implied concept lack any moral center or any concept of what it means to actually be a human. Okay, you paid in the system. You have every right and entitlement to be able to use house if you need it. Now, if you abuse that system or continually do it without graduating yourself out, then you are really a piece of shit. But as far as I can tell, getting in here to get the help you need is exactly why we designed the system, okay? And so it's no different than receiving your Social Security check, disability check, survivor benefits, or even if you're just a family having a rough time. This is why it's America. You pay into something. Now, the government wasn't crying when you was paying in. Okay, they only want to cry when you walk to the bank and want to pull the money out. Oh, wait a minute. When we took all that money out your check, we were hoping we never had to give it back. So, therefore, you should be guilty. We don't want to help you no more. You're not paying into our system. You're retired. We got to put you out there, and not give you nothing. So, what am I doing for the American people? I'm taking Uncle Sam's arm and I'm putting it behind his back and I'm twisting it till he gives you guys something. I'm taking a rigged game and I'm making it winnable again, is what I do. You know, the guy emailed me the other day, could you please explain every process in order to get Section 8 housing? I really wanted to advise that he go see a psychiatric hospital. Do I look like I have fucking time to write out 100,000 word dialogue and story to cover every fucking intervention for the, I mean, it's just such a dingbat thing to ask me. Okay. On a basic level, you call the housing authority, you drive there, you fill out an application, and if you qualify, they give you a voucher. I'm not going to teach you my job. I want people to stop doing that. Hey, how you get housing? Don't argue ignorant with me, man. I'm not going to sit here and write a children's 50,000 word email for you. Okay, I got better shit to do at my time. I've got cats. I've got a hole like babies. I've got shit on the floor. I've got dishes to wash. And the last thing I need to do right now is to be dealing with a bunch of nonsense. So please get with it. All right, Rob. You're right. Did start in the 80s. It did. The 80s ruined us, man, with this system. It ruined us. They used one or two examples and they completely made that all as exclusively as prejudice they could get. And it's left a stain, a shit stain in everybody's brain. And now everybody has this preconceived idea of what it is. Section 8 ain't even the same as the 80s. It's not even mostly used by the African-American population. So the whole thing's a fucking fraud. But the news loves anything. It will feed you the evil that you're looking for if you allow it. What if my company, I said, you know what? We don't serve Republicans. Also, we only serve Mexicans and whites. How'd you like that? That's what your news did to you in the 80s. You know, I put on top of my case where please select what color you are. Please select your age. If you're over this age, we can't do shit for you. Okay? What if I did that? Oh, we'll need your voter card too. If I find out you're a Republican or if you're a Democrat, we put your ass out the door. I even do it. My cat says, look, hey, did you immigrate here, bitch? Because I'll put you out. But see, I don't operate that way. I'm here to help Americans. I don't care about your fucking voter card. And I certainly don't care where you got your tan. Okay? Especially coming from South Louisiana. If anything, I'm not nut that wants to be friends with everybody. I quite enjoy it. It's one of the most beautiful things about my job. I talk to people with all kinds of dialects. I get on my New Yorkers in Jersey. They talk one way. I get on my Southerners, even my rednecks out in West Virginia. Okay? I mean, my job literally is to tune every flipping phone call, and I quite enjoy it because we all express one sentiment unilaterally in this country. Can I get help without being judged for it? I'm not going to judge. Even you call me, hey, man, I'm on the stripper pole. Fine. Okay? Just don't turn tricks while you're on the phone with me. If you're going to take a hit of crack on the phone, please don't do that. Okay? Come back when you got sober and you found Jesus or something. We're not doing it. I had a client do that once. I could hear it. I'm not stupid. Do I look stupid? Before I ever got in my career over 30 years ago, I was on the street 10 years. I know what the sound of crack is in a fucking glass pipe. Don't ever do that shit on the phone in my office, okay? I never fucked with that, but I'm just saying, okay, don't try to pull a fast one. I've already walked a mile, 100 miles in your shoes. You think you can pull a fast one fast talking on the phone? No, honey, you don't have ADD. You just took a really large hit of meth, and I'm hanging up this fucking call. And then you'll come back and leave some review for me. Well, I didn't like that shitty consultant. No, bitch, I'm not going to put up with you sucking on a glass dick, bitch. You get right or you get out. I'm going to help people that need help. What I'm not going to help is people that are active drug users. Okay? Think I don't know. We get down in the hood and the trailer park. I can go either one. I mean, my job is front line, just like the police and nurses and so on. And it means I need to be able to understand and speak the same language, whether you're from uppity middle class or if you're in Third Ward or you're in a trailer park in South Louisiana or you're a hillbilly jacked up on moonshine in West Virginia. Okay, I need to be able to understand those things to be able to help my clients. So they're not going to trust me. Okay, and that's a lot of what it comes down to. I use one neutral asset in all that I do. And many of you know it. It's me and my cats. If you could understand the care and empathy I have for a cat, then how much more would I care for you? And I do. Many of you see me pull a few tears in even videos because I genuinely lose sleep over some of my clients. I worry. During the pandemic, I lost 6 clients to suicide. Despite my Superman ability to be able to get thousands of people housing in an impossible situation, I still lost 6. You don't think that didn't have a profound effect on me? I took it personally. For all the magic and miracles I could produce, I couldn't stop a person from taking their life because I couldn't do my job fast enough. So now you see why I get upset when people push me about that stuff. Oh, well, I don't think you're doing shit. Well, you know what? You can go jump off a bridge, seriously. I worked around the clock for most of my career. Through the pandemic, I worked 18 hours days. It got so bad, clients told me in my videos that I looked like I was about to die. I was just 5 shades of white. I didn't work so hard because I was making more money. I made a third less than I do today. I did it because I didn't want to see old people die on the street and in the car. I did it because I didn't want to watch parents live with their children in a wheelchair in the forest. And so it mattered to me. So whenever I may die in a car accident and I'm on the freeway and my leg's been ripped off, when I take my last breath, I'm not going to regret what I've done here at all. I'm not going to worry about what I go. I'll be happy. I'll smile. I'm not going to worry. Can you say as much for yourself? My life hasn't been perfect, but I always like to end it good. I've done everything I can possibly do for the American people in terms of housing and getting you through it. Many of you may not like my language or my approach, but it takes somebody like me. You can go hire another consultant that's going to talk to you in monotone, a middle-aged white dude that's going to talk to you just like one of them people of Eyewitness News. He ain't going to do shit for you because he doesn't understand the complexity of your life. He doesn't sympathize. He doesn't understand. He doesn't know how to exploit any rules or policies. He just simply is going to work in monotone for you. And in the end, the only thing you're going to get is a handful of shit. I know many of these consultants, their only interest is to get to lunch and get the fuck out of the office. The heart is not in the same place as mine. I can assure you that. You really don't know what you have till you lose it. And I'm going for retirement. And the services I do are going to allow after my retirement be very limited. Only 4 limited caseworks, and I'll only take short calls. And then you see what you're left with on YouTube. 58 YouTube creators for Section 8 housing. Only 1 real consultant. Who are they going to copy then? So that's the truth. You want to hear the truth? That's the truth. Now you see it. Just like a farmer, you look at his hands, you can tell. Look at my face and tell me that I'm enriching myself on the back of low-income individuals. Do I look enriched to you? Do I look like I'm a well-rested person? Do I look like I'm disconnected and don't understand? Why the hell would I make 1,000 videos teaching you policy and procedure? I look like a man that's done his job, and I've done it for a long time. And for any of you that can read between the lines and understand the difference between bullshit, you would know that. If you don't, you're just delusional. You're not ready. You're not ready. You haven't lived long enough. Even my cats get it. They see me. They see me late at night. They understand my concerns. They know when I'm worried. When I'm sitting there trying to solve cases in the shower, sitting on a toilet, and I'm sitting there trying to solve a case at 9:30 at night. And then every now and then I get that delusional soccer mom tries to accuse me of improprietary efforts on my own. Oh, but you're not doing nothing. No, of course not. I'm just sitting here playing Farmville, honey. I'm down over there getting my nails and hair done. So I think today's a good day. As my career comes to a close, I think we all know the truth. So moving on back to these comments. Thank you for all the updates, Jay. Always looking forward to seeing your videos and getting things on. Get a tan. I need to, don't I? I know just how to do that. I'll get some of Mom's old Crisco and lay out in the yard and get a 3rd-degree burn, right? Gotta love Mom, that Crisco. She wasn't always the smartest thing in the room, but that Crisco thing about cooked her ass when I was young. Many of you know what I'm talking about. You old school. That's before they probably even had tanning lotion. Who the hell puts Crisco on the ass? But I always loved to hear Mom's stories. She was a simple Cajun woman, but some of the shit she did, man, I got to tell you, I had to question. Christina Gannon, Batman gets a signal on the moon and says, damn it, I just sat down. Good for Batman. Oding Butte, your cats are not going to want to see you go. I'm not leaving until my cats go. I guarantee you. Unless the good Lord sees fit, I prefer all of them go, and I won't get any more. I've lived on this planet long enough to know I can't trust the people here. It's a sad thing to say, but I just don't trust people overall, especially in the care and welfare of animals. I see so many horrific things that I worry about the core, our priorities as humans. We put our TV, smart devices. Let me give you a simple lesson here in this video, something to walk away with as we close this video out. We'll spend thousands on jewelry and TVs and iPhones. Okay, things that don't even love you back. But the one thing that's grateful to see you and to love you unconditionally is sitting there in your bedroom waiting on you. But you'll prioritize every fucking thing that you've got, including your money and your assets, on your enjoyment of the material world. And none of that shit loves you back. And you won't even take your fucking cat to the vet. You treat the one thing that loves you conditionally more than anybody, even your own fucking family, and you treat it as the worst thing in your home. Your priorities over your fucking iPhone, your nail job, and all this other shit. I'm not speaking for everybody. So I don't really trust. I don't have a great deal of faith in humanity as a whole. When we start viewing, and the pandemic produced that result in my mind, when we have little idiots going out to the pet store because they feel lonely. Oh, poor you, right? And the pandemic ends and they kick all the animals out the house, causing millions of animals across the planet that had clean water, food, and what it thought was love, really from a fake bitch. And then put out. Animals connect with you in a way. The reason they love you, they connect that love to you. It's almost like they connect to your soul a bit. They know what's right and what's wrong. And to imagine somebody would take them in during the pandemic and then throw them out like they're dollar store trash. That's the fucking humans I'm talking about. So I'm afraid I'd have to be like the Egyptians. If I got to go, so do my animals. I will not leave the care and welfare of my animals to this fucking planet. Okay? I just don't trust it. They're connected to me. So I hope when they go. And then I go. I know I don't have a choice over that, but you see my thoughts there. Anyways, your passion shows. Oh, God, it does, doesn't it? My passion also shows when a cat shits on the floor and I hit it 3 a.m. and do this banana split. You've never seen so much passion in your life. I almost have to go check in at church. People are watching on the internet here in Washington. People get free cable internet, Obama phones. I don't know, everybody beats to death Mr. Obama and his phones. Look, them fucking phones were free. Don't take a shit on the man, okay? Obama was a charismatic guy. I didn't agree with everything he does, just like I don't agree with everything Trump does. The way I look at it, no matter what president goes in, I focus on what they're doing right, and I just try to look past all the shit they do wrong. I've never met any politician that served all the country. We only elect people that serve half the country half the time anyways. And then it's funny because half of you people elect people, and then they take a shit on you anyways. It's crazy. Look, my magic kingdom ends where my property line is, and it ends where my property line is. I don't give a shit what they do in the White House. I don't care what Congress does. I got a shotgun, a couple of cats, and my property line. I run this country, not Congress. Okay? Come up on my land and find out what happens to you. That's how I see it. They can make all the fucking magic rules they want there in Congress and the House. I don't really give a shit about that. Okay? If you believe their agenda serves part of your thinking, that's great. I don't really care about it. It doesn't make any damn difference to me, but it does matter to me in one way. It matters when we're talking about other humans and trying to deal with the human element of housing. It matters. I look at that, and I've never voted in my life. Not for anything. I don't vote. Because unlike most things, voting is just like most other things. It's rigged. It's going to serve one side of the party or the other, right? There's nothing that truly serves everybody, and I wish we could solve that as humans. All right, so YouTube 1970 as a 55-year-old HCB holder, I would be better off in a 55 senior apartment. Well, you don't really know that you're better off until you know the circumstance, but I tell you something, you're too young to be living in seniors housing, okay? Let me tell you what, you get into that, yep, it takes a while to wait, then you get in. If you decide you can't stand the people there, other circumstances happen, then you end up in a circumstance where when you leave, you get up at a hotel, you're not going to have anywhere to go, and you're waiting, and you may be waiting for a voucher. So it creates a problem of its own. Entering and then trying to exit can create existential problems. So you better make damn sure before you do that. It's better to have vouchers because it gives you the option to be able to move, what we call porting. Go Gators. You from Louisiana? Because when I say go Gators, you're either Florida or you're Louisiana. It's all a scam if you follow the money. It's always been, there's nothing that I can see that you can do about it. Well, I think your vision is a little bit limited. I've done plenty about it. I've done it to the tune of about 22,000 people. So I would put your concept and ideas in live chat as speculation. Okay? Don't take it as me being rude. You don't know if I'm doing that. All right, Sheila. Snap went up for 40% in just 4 years under Biden. Well, that's a yo-yo game. You know, it's going to go up or down no matter what president we have. We don't need to worry about Obama, okay? What we need to worry about is what's happening right now, guys. You got to stop. I got people talking about Jimmy Carter in here. Oh, well, in the Carter. Look, that was 80 years ago. The only thing everybody's asking to be worried about today, okay? Don't worry about Trump. Biden, Obama and the rest, Bush, Reagan. Don't worry about all that. That's come to pass. You got to learn to deal with it today, okay? This is the hand we're dealt. This is what we have that we got to deal with today. Joseph Barr, the biggest congregation, Federal Reserve debt note worship. Soon the blockchain and asset ledger will be a world slavery system. Well, we call that advancement in society. The world's becoming a different place, and you take it or leave it. You know, a lot of things are happening. Robots, AI, AGI, loss of jobs, this and that, you know. People said the same shit 200 years ago, you know. They created a steam train and the world's falling apart. 200 years from now, they say the same thing. We just got to roll with the times. People moan when we had computer. Oh, my God, the computer. Then it was a smartphone. Look, the world's going to keep going forward with or without you. You can either learn to deal with adversity or you can die with it. Okay? How in God's name did I end up making a video this long? All right, I'm going to wrap this up because I don't know how this even happened. You got me charged up, and now here we are. Sammy Boot. Talk text sucks. I didn't mean to say daddy. That's okay. I've been called worse. Though it's a little weird when a man does that to me. They say entertainment started on cell phones with Bush. They had a Bush phone. I didn't get one of those. I like to collect phones. You get a Bush phone, a Reagan phone, a Carter. Well, in the Carter days, they had to give you a phone with a cord on it. You know? So it's tough times. Guys, I've enjoyed having you. I'm glad we've been able to share a little bit of passion, a little bit about the news and so on. Glad I was able to share a little bit about our company and things we do here, share personal stories. It's better to connect with people this way, okay? Because when you deal with YouTube and people, you're being presented one ideal situation and one picture of people and what they're discussing. I often involve my videos in many elements so you understand me as a core person. You understand the struggles and the pains that's involved in just life. You're able to relate or just relate to what I do. And you can even judge me if you wish. I don't mind a little judgment. That's how it goes. We're not flawless people, but that's the best way I understand to connect with people is for you to see the same ideals and other issues that happens as a human in these videos. And so a large portion of my life gets pushed out in the public platform, and I don't mind. Okay. If you want, we can have judgment hour. I can make videos and we can just judge the shit out of each other if that makes you happy. But at the end of the day, it ain't going to matter to me. So anyways, I'm enjoying everybody being here, and we'll be on this afternoon. We'll be talking about the evolution of Section 8 housing. And I'm going to reveal a great deal more about what we're to expect in 2026. It'll come with a lot of tears and negative shit, okay? So please do stop by your local church, ask the pastor to pray for you, and then you can come get your negative dose of news here at our channel. But remember, with all negative things, I'll also show you the light. So we start with tears, then we end with joy. That's usually how most videos go until the system changes. If you don't like reality, then I have a side service. You can call 1-800-SWEET-THINGS. 1-800-SWEET-THINGS. That's where I will blow and whisper bullshit in the ear. We'll sugarcoat shit for you so you can swallow it better. So if anybody's having problems swallowing bullshit, please do call 100-SWEET-THINGS. We'll talk to you pleasantly. All right. Bye-bye for now.